You're going to be making a lab blog. So this is for ecology class. I'm Sue Glenn, and I'm just going to go over the basics of how you're going to report on what you've done on your labs this semester. In making a public blog, we're not going to be using anything that is already existing in e-learning. You're going to do something out on the internet, and you can use any blog platform you're comfortable with. Some of you already have blogs, and you already know how to set up a blog, and you already have the flexibility and the ability to do that. Others of you haven't never done a blog before, so I'm going to guide you through how to do one just using Google Sites, just because that's very easy, it's free, it's quick, and it's a good place to start if you've never done one before. But if you're already comfortable, you can use any blog platform you want. Whatever it is you're going to use, you're going to make your blog public. You're going to publish it on the internet, and you're going to put the link in our e-learning course discussion boards so that everyone will be able to see the lab blog, particularly me, but also it's going to be available for you to look at other people's blogs. So the purpose of this, one of the things we're going to be doing with our lab, since we're working individually, is you're going to be submitting your photos of where you're working and what you're doing. Sometimes you're posting pictures of the species you've identified so that people will know if they were calling the same thing the same species or not, and can help update those species identifications. It also is someplace you can post pictures from you'll have a lab book. So you'll be posting pictures from your lab book of the data and the notes that you took while you're out there. You can put maps to where you worked. You can put any sort of information about the weather, any interesting observations that you make. And this is also where you can put links to where your data has been submitted, or I'll have a link that where you can submit data as well. And when we analyze the data, it's a chance for you to post your analysis and your conclusions from the data. We'll be sharing class data, so when you analyze it, you're not just looking at your own, you're looking at everyone's. Also, the nice thing about this, you have a record of your labs that you can access at any time. Even when the course is over, you can go back and use this information. And you can also see what other people did, so you can understand maybe why their data is different from yours. You'll find my example template on Google Sites. This will give you a guide as to what I'm expecting, the kind of information, and how I set mine up. And so you don't have to follow exactly the way I've done it, but you'll know what I'm looking for as far as the information is concerned. The way I did mine was basically making a page, a blog for each lab separately. So on the home page of my site, I have the links to each one of those separate pages for each lab. So each lab has the a little picture to go with it, and I would recommend using pictures that you took out in the field there, and the name of the lab, and then that name can link to the blog page with the information on that particular lab. And then I put the date that I did each lab underneath that, so people would know when it was last updated. I'm here on Google Sites taking a look at my template, and you can see at the top of the template it has, each time you make a page in Google Sites, it adds to your menu, which automatically puts at the top, makes it nice and easy. And I have an About Me section here. Obviously, you would make this about you and don't share anything you're not comfortable with sharing. But this is where I list what I'm expecting you to put into your lab blog. And so you're going to have to put in the photos that you're asked to make for the labs. You're going to be putting in your photos of the data pages from your field book, descriptions of the study sites, the dates, the weathers, the times, who you went with, who you did work with, maps to the locations, and the hypotheses and the data analyses that we look at, and links to things that you're trying to share. So you can do what you want with your About Me section. And then below that, I have a spot for each separate lab. So there's a blog on the pollination lab, one on the point center quarter lab, one on the dispersion lab. Those are separate pages. And I'm just putting the name of the lab. You can put a little description if you want, or date and location. And so we're doing 7 labs. And so I have 7 little spots. And obviously we didn't see any tigers, but you could put pictures of what you actually saw on here. You can be creative, put what you like. So I've got all 7 listed here. So for each page, Google Sites makes it very easy to submit your photos from your labs. You might want to send them from your phone to your email so that you can put them on your computer, sort of get that all set up. You can stick on a map for the location. You can show pictures of the species, post your analysis. So there's a lot of very easy templates you can use. Let me show you one of the pages. So I am on the page for the Island Biogeography Lab. So this is my template site. So I got here if I was on the home site, and this is actually the editing site here. But if I clicked on Island Biogeography here, if I was on the published site, I would go to the Island Biogeography Lab. And you can change these cover pictures. You can see I'm in the editing mode, so I can go ahead and change things and the header types and themes and things like that. There's different themes you can choose from. And so you can add in little videos. You can add in videos if you're doing the actual lab. Here, just as an example, I had posted a video onto YouTube and stuck it in here. And then you can you're being asked in the lab book to post certain pictures. So you just put the sizes of these islands and share your data. And then here is where you would put a picture from the field book of the data tables that are in the field book. Then when we analyze the data, places to put that information, and then also to describe some hypotheses that you could actually test with this data. So it's a one-page report on that particular lab. And when you are in Google Sites, once you've got it all set, then you publish your changes. When you're in Google Sites, you can see what it's going to look like on the computer screen. You can take a look at what it's going to look like on a tablet or on a phone, and then you can adjust things accordingly. So you can see I might want to change my title font because it's not displaying very well on the other platforms. You can check to make sure that your video is working, and you can see, so you can't really test that when you're in editing mode, but you can test that here, and then you can see how it's going to display things on somebody's phone versus how it's displaying things on the computer. You see, the stray cat was helping me with that lab. When I'm in the editing mode on the template, just to give you an idea of what it looks like in Google Sites, down the right-hand side is where you can decide to put in pictures, text boxes, images. You can put in these automatic little layouts. So where I had 3 things going across, I just clicked on one of these. So you've got quite a few things you can choose from. You can add in the YouTube video like I did with the cat helping me with the lab. You can also put in maps. So I could add in a Google map of my location. I did this in Pittman, New Jersey, and actually I could zoom into my location and show exactly where I did the lab. I can drop a place mark right on the spot. I was in this park practicing my lab right there, and then select this and add it to my blog, and I can move it to where I want it, so I don't have to have it. I lost it. There we go. Have it down here at the bottom, or I could move it up to the underneath the first video where I've described the date and time and who's collecting the data. When you are on your home page and you want to add a page for a lab, you just click on pages, and you can see all my pages are listed here. If I wanted to add another one, I just click on new page, or you could also go and you can delete any pages that you want to, and then you can change the themes. So if you wanted in a different theme, that you would prefer it to look like this, you can click on themes. When you've made changes to the site, you still have to publish it. So I click publish. It'll show me what changes I've made. So you can see I fixed up that font by changing the theme, and you can see the draft site now includes my map that it didn't have before, and then I just click publish. If you don't want to publish it, you can just go back and fix anything that you didn't want to change. Just click publish on this. Ta-da! And there it is, and then I can see how this is going to look once again on these different platforms. So now it looks much better on my phone and tablet as well as the computer. It's important to actually keep up with your blog weekly and to get your data submitted when it's collected. So we can see here we've got the pollination lab. We will be doing that on the second week. So you'll be outside collecting that data. And when you collect the pollination lab data, you're going to submit it so that the rest of the class can use it. We're going to compile the class data. So that has to be submitted by Friday, September 11th. And that way, the following week, you're able to do your pollination data analysis. So you can see what weeks we're doing the data collection and when that data is due, and then what weeks we are actually analyzing the data. If you do not get your data in, then we can't include it in the class data set. So you'll lose points for not putting your data in by the due date. So these due dates are something to pay attention to. You may want to add that into your calendar. Keep the blog up, put as much as you can into your blog, because when you do your lab exam, you will be allowed to access your blog and get that information. So you'll be able to have everything well organized. It's not like you have it on scraps of paper lying in the back seat of your car. You'll have it well organized and you can use it to do well on the lab exam. Get your blog set up and share it on the discussion board. That way I can see it. Make sure it's set to share publicly. And it could be that you can set that so that it can be just for people with the link, or depending on the type of site you're using, or it could be something searchable. That's up to you, but make sure that when I click on the link, I'm going to be able to see it. So have somebody test it out for you. Looking forward to seeing your lab blogs.